So, how are we feeling this week? Hey everybody, it's V's.
And Kit.
And welcome to something we've been planning for how long?
A few months at least.
Yeah, I think it's been since before I moved, actually. So yeah, it's been like probably 3 months at least.
Yeah, we got something new today, which we've been super excited to start, really.
Yeah, we wanted to start up a podcast about mental health and, like, LGBT stuff and stuff like that. And, Kit came up with an amazing name. What's this podcast called? No, it was absolutely you.
Well, this podcast is called Spoons and Spellslots.
Yep. So, yeah, we want to talk about, like, mental health stuff, and this is going to be an introductory episode where we mostly talk about our own stuff, but after this, we're going to be talking about, like, we're going to have a series of episodes on anxiety and depression and, like, being trans and dissociative disorder and stuff like that, like things that we research, and maybe we'll bring people in to talk about their own stuff. And yeah, we're still feeling this out, but we're giving it a go.
Yeah, we'll figure it out as we go, I think.
that can only end well.
Oh, of course. Well, I think when we were starting initial planning, we were writing out things that we could talk about as a podcast, and this was like the main thing I felt qualified to talk about. Not that I'm qualified in mental health, but I know my own experience and kind of got quite a lot to talk about. Yeah,
and I'm not really qualified either, but I have my own issues and my own ways of coping with them, and thought it would be a good place to, like, talk about things.
There's gonna be a little more structured than we usually do, but it's still gonna be more of a relaxed, just talking podcast rather than, like, specified. We're gonna have specified points for each topic of an episode, but it's not gonna be hyper structured.
Yeah, this one's gonna be kind of more chill than others will be. But yeah, you go. Let's start with you.
Okay. Well, I haven't really been diagnosed with much apart from generalized anxiety. I have a lot of things which I think I have and I need to work through, but I can't remember the word they used. It was not hyper anxiety, but it was something like, can you remember what it was?
I cannot, I'm sorry.
No, it was like, it was some type of generalized anxiety that's constant, and I've been diagnosed with depression, but the diagnosis wasn't the important thing for me. It was more of a process towards getting help. So I'm a trans boy. I'm 20. I'm probably on the autistic spectrum somewhere. I'm not entirely sure yet.
I would say definitely.
I share a lot of, I kind of fall into it quite nicely, but I haven't been diagnosed, and I'm not for certain that I am. What else? That's me, really, like, for the base facts. Like, I'll think of more as we start talking, really.
Okay. As for me, I'm Gabby, I'm trans, I have clinical depression, general anxiety, agoraphobia, dissociative disorder, or dissociative identity disorder. What else? If I could find my just one second. I pulled them out specifically for this. So just a second, I have them sitting over here.
Yeah, one thing that I wanted to make clear of it is that it wasn't about just mental disorders which have been diagnosed, but more the whole mental health spectrum around that. And not everything's going to be diagnosed.
Oh, no. And, like, some of my stuff is not, but I have a book-thick thing of diagnoses. Let's see, what else? There's, like, another anxiety as well.
Yeah, because I'm really new to being in the mental health like system, as it were. Like, I'm only just starting to actually get therapy and see doctors and going down that route.
Yeah, back when I was going to therapy and stuff, I had my ADHD medication, which was it was an R. It wasn't Ritalin, it was the other one. Oh, I can't remember. It's been so long.
Let me just get my DSM manual from the shelf here.
It's been since 2011 since I've been able to afford my medications. I was on antidepressants, antipsychotics, and I do remember one. It was Zoloft. But yeah, I have. Let's see, this is all a lot of like actual like write-ups and stuff.
Not to frighten off the neurotypicals here.
No, but like I have my own share, and I haven't been medicated since 2011 because money. So I kind of had to find my own ways of coping with it.
Yeah.
And stuff. So yeah, and I am definitely on the autism spectrum. I was trying to find the exact wording, but when I say it's a book thick like thing, I mean there are like 97 pages from that are sitting, and I don't. There's so much, and I don't understand a lot of it.
I have never been on medication, and it's less of a case of money for me because I'm from England, so we have the NHS, as good or bad as it is, but I've never been on medication. So like you, I've been just trying to find my own strategies.
Yeah, and mine are more because and it wasn't even really money. It was because I was going through a program that I got reduced cost medications and stuff. Like, I paid a total of I think $6 for all of my medications. But the main issue was my medications that service was locked to the state I was living in, and I moved.
I see.
So I lost that, and then I didn't return to that state until now. But I'm not in the area that it is, so I can't go there again.
I would be really interested to find out the differences between the system in England and in America. I'm really interested about that.
Well, we can definitely talk about that, because I have a pretty good memory of my time with that stuff, and you're going into it.
Yeah.
So we can compare our notes. Although my information will be 7 years old.
It's
God, it's been 7 years. Oh boy.
Yeah.
That just hit me. Oh, the existentialism. But no, yeah, we mostly wanted to talk about our coping methods and stuff like that. Well, again, let's start with you.
Well, I started experiencing quite high levels of depression, like fairly early in my teens, about 11, 12, I think, like just getting into secondary school. And at that time, I absolutely did not recognize what it was, why I was feeling that way, which I think is pretty standard for people at that age. Like, I didn't recognize that either everyone was feeling this and it was normal and everyone was just sad all the time, or no one else was experiencing this and I was weird and I couldn't talk about it. So I've had that problem like all through my life, that I really struggled expressing what I was feeling to other people, which is probably like something to do with my autism, or is just me as a person. So,
I was just about to say, that's the autism speaking.
Yeah. But I've been very isolated, especially in the beginning of my life, like the early journey in my mental health. And so my coping strategy was absolutely just to take myself away from the situation, which didn't necessarily help. So at school I would just completely isolate myself because I thought it was making me better, or at least that other people couldn't see it whilst I was feeling it, which I thought was better than other people knowing I was ill, basically.
Yeah, I feel that.
Yeah. So coping strategy wise, I get, well, especially towards late college, which would be late high school, I think, in America, I just drowned myself in TV shows. And that was my coping strategy, was just fandom, basically. Like, I would just dive into a TV show and that would become my life, and I would live through the characters. So I would find ways of coping by just being in a different world. Like, it was completely my strategy, basically.
Yeah. I feel that, although I don't do the same thing, but yeah, I feel that.
I don't do that so much as I used to. Like, I don't really watch TV anymore, I just play video games, which I guess is another part of it.
Yeah.
There's a specific word for that, which I'm trying to think of.
Escapism.
Escapism, thank you.
Yes.
But, yeah.
I know that word well.
I could do a whole episode just on that, really, because that was a big...
It's in the notes.
It's a big part of my experience, is just not experiencing what I was feeling, but just leaving it for a while.
Yeah, it's in the notes, don't worry.
Yeah, you should see we've written a whole list of different ways we experience mental health, and for us personally, like being trans and all the different ways it comes into it. So that's some ideas for the future.
I'm looking at the notes right now. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 categories. Mm-hmm. And minimum 4 subjects under each category right now. And escapism is located under depression. So, myself personally, and we're gonna get really heavy in this. I'm gonna have to do an opening. I'm gonna have to do a content warning.
Yeah, well, this is the place for it, to be honest.
Yeah, but I have personally attempted suicide 7 times. Mm-hmm. Not failures on, or not on. It hasn't worked, not because I've stopped it, but because the method has failed. Mm-hmm. I think I've talked about it before on one of the V's Talks episodes, but when I was younger, I tried to hang myself, and the pipe I had hung from broke. And then I was kind of like, well, fuck, and I gave up for a while. Yeah. I tried pills, but, well, I either would vomit them up or I just wouldn't have anything happen. And I'm pretty sure I just have liver damage from it.
Yeah.
I did write a post once about how I sat on some railroad tracks and just kind of waited, and then I was listening to a podcast and kind of got distracted by the podcast and went home to download more episodes. So
That's good.
stuff like that. And so I don't know. I failed 7 times, so I guess I kind of gave up.
I wouldn't see that as failure.
I failed to accomplish the thing I set out to do.
Yeah, but not doing the thing you're gonna do is not a failure in another sense.
No, I know. I'm just saying technically they were failures because I failed to do the thing I set out to do.
If we're getting heavy, then
I mean, yeah, that's kind of where we're at.
Yeah.
I definitely use escapism to deal with my depression. Well, I do 2 things. One, I bury myself in a video game. WoW is my drug of choice a lot of the time. But Dark Souls has been this year, severely. I mean, I got Dark Souls came out last year, early last year. I've played a lot of video games over the last year, a lot. Look at my time in Dark Souls, because I'm nearing 400 hours.
Yeah, you're getting up there.
No, 293, that's where I'm at. I'm at 293 hours in Dark Souls.
I'm really sad you can't see the playtime in Blizzard games, because I would be interested to see mine.
Type /played in the chat. They will tell you.
Seriously?
Yes.
Okay.
You can do that in WoW and everything else.
I'll do that here later.
I can actually pop up my WoW account later, and I can find what my playtime is on, my Hunter. Because I used to have a display, I was at, 200-something hours at my current level, which is level cap for this expansion. So, I mean, I've put probably... I'd say in WoW, I've probably put 3,000, 4,000 hours over the years.
Yeah, our last stint, we were playing WoW together. That was constant, wasn't it? That was all we played.
Oh, yeah. It was all I played. Remember the channel suffered because I wasn't recording because I was playing WoW?
Yeah, but WoW though.
Yeah, and my other method of coping has been to bury myself in work. Which is one of the reasons the channel still exists. I in the last 7 days, I've recorded 14 videos because I have been not super well mentally, so I just bury myself in work.
You've been very busy.
Last night I was talking with someone about all the podcasts I'm going to be starting up or bringing back soon, and there's 15. Not really, but it feels like it because there's, I think, 7 or 8.
Yeah, there's quite a few.
Yeah, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 podcasts, including this one. Also, you can hear the neighbors upstairs.
Oh. Yeah, if you hear a noise my end, it's either going to be the train, the road that runs by my house, or the cat.
Yeah, I can edit that out. And I'm going to try to edit out the neighbors walking around upstairs. But yeah, I bury myself in work. And I was really, really anxious and depressed right before I moved, and I recorded 26 episodes of Dark Souls in, what was it, 2 days?
Something like that.
I recorded for 10 hours straight one time.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, because I remember hitting a point in the game, because I had stopped to go farm souls and level up at one point, but I had still been playing. And I'd been playing for almost 10 hours when I ended, and that was the first day. But yeah, I do that, and I will bury myself in work and ignore everything else to the detriment of, like, my relationships and life and health. Like, I don't sleep often. I have severe insomnia, and I'm a very light sleeper, so it's not dangerous, but I've taken allergy meds at night so I can fall asleep, which they no longer have an effect on me, so that's fun. I need to actually get, like, proper sleeping medication, but that requires a doctor. But yeah, I do a lot of either working to forget or pure escapism and burying myself in a video game.
Yeah, we're different in that sense. Like, because if you do watch the channel, you'll probably see, like, a season of Kit where I'm in a load of episodes for a while, and then I have a complete break and I won't be in an episode for, like, a month or longer.
Oh, we didn't record anything together for nearly half a year.
Yeah, like, it's absolutely just about my spoon level, because I get super tired and anxious a lot of the time, and I struggle with verbal communication as probably, like, one of my main things I struggle with, and it's nearly impossible for me to just talk to people. And I can talk to Gabby and that's fine, but it's me putting on a front for the Let's Play where I have to, like, speak not just in small noises. I have to actually talk like a human, which is really hard sometimes.
Yeah. And see, it's weird being autistic and an extrovert.
We're like...
Because I realized this, I'm not an introvert. I realized this, like, kind of recently. Being around people drains the fuck out of me, but I also need it to feel human.
This is an extrovert. Hey.
I am definitely an extrovert, and I'm very good at talking, and I do it a lot. So I was like, a channel where I talk and play video games? This is the best thing ever. But I also like social interactions with people I don't know, like work, it's not as draining now because I only talk to my coworkers and they're all pretty chill, as chill as, like, normal straight cis dudes can be.
Yeah.
But when I was working in a more customer service oriented role in my last job, like, Kit, have I come home non-verbal at all lately?
Not recently.
Yeah, it hasn't been pretty much since it's been a couple times since I moved, but not, like, almost every day like it was back before.
Yeah, it was hard because we were both really struggling then.
Yeah, like, I was coming home from work and I just could not words because I was so drained from having to put up a front for a bunch of strangers, and it was so difficult at the time.
Yeah.
And I burned more spoons than I recovered from interaction. So I was always in the negative because I didn't have enough energy left to come home and do stuff with you or with somebody else. And being at work, I wasn't recovering more than I was using. So it was just a constant spiral down, which is one of the other reasons the channel, like, I have the year of, I think it's the long breaks era is what I called it. Like, I just shut down and I couldn't do it, and I was taking like 3-4 month breaks at a time.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's weird. And how do you cope with your anxiety?
Oh, I don't.
Yeah, I know, but I wanted to move into that.
Yeah, anxiety is probably my if depression comes in cycles, it comes and goes, but anxiety is all the time. Like, it never ever goes away. And it can get slightly better, but it just never properly leaves. And escapism, naturally, but sensory distractions are pretty good for my anxiety. Like, I fidget with my clothes or my sleeves, or I just try and make myself like physically smaller. Like, I just sort of want to crawl into my chair and just curl up. Is the only way I can really stop feeling anxious, is if I get super small and just hide away for a bit. But that's not always possible.
Yeah, it's hard to deal with.
Yeah, because I have a social work job, so I'm talking to people all the time, which is probably the worst decision I could have made as a career. But I thought it would help me at the beginning. I thought it was what I needed to learn social skills and learn how to talk to people, because I just wasn't beforehand.
I think the reason it didn't help you a ton is because of your coworkers, but we can talk about that later.
Yeah, we can do like a whole episode on mental health and work. But yeah, I was getting quite severely bullied at work, and that wasn't helping. Like, because I was in a difficult situation already, trying to basically learn how to talk to people and learn interactions with. I was working with quite vulnerable people sometimes, and there's a very specific way to talk to them, and you need to learn social cues and learn how they express discomfort, and you need to learn all those things so you know the appropriate way to talk to this person and how you can help them. And I did not have social skills. I didn't recognize facial changes very well, and I had to learn everything from scratch basically to be able to work in that field. And it turns out if your co-workers are actively making it worse, it's not very hard, it's not very easy to do it. And that significantly made my anxiety like skyrocket in the last 6 months, I think. Yeah,
it's been progressively worse over the last 6 months, definitely.
Yeah, it's getting worse, and I don't really know why I stuck with it, but I just wanted the qualification I was studying because I worked really hard on it in my first 6 months, and I didn't want to just let it go. So I stuck with it, and I'm still in that job, but not for much longer because my contract's running out, and I'm hoping I'll get another job that is a bit easier on my anxiety, basically.
Yeah, I hope so too.
Mm-hmm.
I cope with my anxiety by burying myself in work.
Mm-hmm.
That seems to be my main coping mechanism with things. Although, my anxiety has not been nearly as bad lately.
No, you've been a lot better recently.
Man, moving really helped.
Mm-hmm.
Like, a lot. I do have pretty bad anxiety about going outside, high agoraphobia, but my coping mechanism with that is purely I put on my headphones.
Yes.
It does not hurt that I leave the house in the middle of the night. Like, I would have been on the clock at work for 2 hours at this point, because it's 6 a.m. now.
We both got a day off today.
Yeah, thank God. This is my last day off for 6 days, so I put a lot of I have 109. I've listened to a lot of them. I don't know how many podcasts I have right now. I'm subscribed to 97. Yeah, 97, and I have 188 podcasts downloaded.
I'm subscribed to 69 podcasts. Nice.
And the way I make it to work, besides the fact that now I don't really have to worry about it seeming like a large, wide open space because it's super dark and I can't see anything, the way I deal with it on my way back at 1 p.m. and how I dealt with it, because I don't own a car because anxiety, and also just it's so fucking expensive.
Yeah, I can't.
I have always just put in. I always have pretty decent. Like I have Sennheiser earbuds that are really good at blocking out noise, or at least noise when something's playing. And I stare at the ground, and I know my footpath to and from where my destination is, and I don't look anywhere outside of when I'm crossing a road. And then I have my little mini breakdown when I reach my destination, and then I'm fine. But there was a point back in like 2009 that I didn't leave my house for 10 months.
Yeah.
Like, there have been points where, like, I lost a job because I could not leave the house. I lost a lot of stuff because I couldn't function as a person because it got so bad. And that was actually what prompted me to get help in 2010. Was it started getting really bad again, and it was either, at that point, I need to go find help, or I'm going to walk in front of a car. Because I can't deal with another 10 months of literally never leaving like, I couldn't come within 10 feet of my door.
Yeah.
I didn't see sunlight for almost a year straight because I couldn't open the windows or the blinds. And I went and saw my therapist, and that was a whole fucking thing. And it was like I had to work on coping mechanisms while on my antipsychotics for it, and a whole bunch of other stuff. And it's super irrational fears. Like, a lot of these kinds of things are super irrational shit, but that doesn't matter to your brain. Your brain's stupid. Your brain doesn't know anything.
Well, irrational doesn't matter at that point.
Yeah, like, one of my major fears was that clouds were going to turn solid and fall on me. Like, that's dumb. That's Mario cartoon bullshit.
Yeah, but that's not what your brain thinks when you're feeling it, though.
Yeah. When my brain says, no, that's going to fucking happen. And then my body goes, yeah, it's gonna happen. The brain says so, it's in control. And then I go, no, that's stupid, but I guess we're afraid now. And then it just happens. And, like, stuff like that happens all the time. It's the reason I cannot drive. Because I cannot control the actions of every other motorist on the road, which means that I will die. I will die. It doesn't mean it's a rational thought, but that's what my brain says. My brain says, I will die. Hey, that person that's walking past you is gonna stab you. Hey, like, you went to this restaurant, they're gonna poison you. Like, just random, irrational, anxiety-related bullshit. And so I learned to cope with one, which helped me learn to cope with others. But, like, if I didn't prepare my own food, or at one point it got bad enough to where I didn't trust produce. So I bought pre-packaged, like, like ramen and shit, like things that were like a meal in a box, just add water and shit like that, like, because for like almost 2 months straight, I could not trust that someone had not done something to this food that would lead to my death or something like that. Like, and at the time I was suicidal, so I don't know why I was afraid of this, but again, the irrational fears mean nothing. Yeah. Like, there is no logic to them.
No, like, I have suicidal ideology quite a lot, but I am petrified of someone breaking into my house and killing me. It's one of my biggest fears is someone breaking into my house. And you think, like, if I didn't want to be alive, then why would that matter? But it absolutely does, and you can't really explain it like that.
Because brains are stupid and don't actually know what they want.
No, well, they want, like, too many things and they don't overlap. And nothing really makes sense when you're in that frame of mind. It just kind of happens.
Yeah, it's...
I think we should explain, like, how the title means, because we've been talking about spoons a little bit, but some people might not know what that means.
Oh, yeah. So, spoon theory is, like... You're better at explaining this. You go.
Hang on, I'll find the author just to be particular. Okay, well, spoon theory, I'm not sure when I learned about it. It was quite a few years ago, because I remember explaining it to my therapist, what it meant. And it was based on an essay in 2003 by Christine Miserandio. I don't want to butcher that last name. But it's an explanation on basically a tangible amount of energy for people with autism or a disability or severe, like, mental health problems. Or it can just be for neurotypicals as well. And it's a measurement of how much energy you have within that day. So say a neurotypical person who doesn't have any potent mental health problems or disabilities, they could have, say, 50, 60 spoons in a day. And each spoon is a representation of doing an action. So me getting out of bed, taking a shower, brushing my teeth, they all take, like, a spoon or a couple of spoons to do that action. And so if you've got an abundance of spoons, you'll never notice not having them. Or very rarely when you're really tired and you can't do anything. But if you're someone who naturally has less spoons, you could have maybe 5, 6, 7 spoons in a day. So each action, you're giving up a spoon. And so if I got out of bed, took a shower, brushed my teeth, that's half my spoons for the day gone. And if I have to go to work that day, and I have to travel, and I have to talk to people, it's very likely that I'll start going into the red. And if that happens, I'm borrowing spoons from tomorrow. So if I don't have many spoons to begin with, and I'm borrowing them from tomorrow, the next day I'm going to have no spoons again. And it's kind of following that of just how much energy do you have and what can you achieve in that day. And Spellslot theory is just the same, but it's more of a D&D kind of twist, because that's what I'm about. So, like in D&D, if you're a magician, you can explain that a bit better for D&D.
So, yeah, in terms of spell slots, in, I believe it's 5th edition, I haven't played D&D since 3.5. I played a little bit of 4th, but it wasn't super great. In 5th edition, you, as a spellcaster, you get spell slots. Each slot is then used up by a spell you have, and you have a certain number of slots for each level. So it's essentially the same as spoon theory, but it's just a nerdier way of talking about it, really.
Which is why we like it.
Yeah, so spoons and spell slots. That's the name of the podcast.
Which is kind of perfect, really.
Yeah, it fits us pretty well.
Yeah. So we'll probably be talking about spoons quite a lot, because it's quite a significant part of our lives, is trying to, like, navigate through that, basically.
Yeah. I have definitely a larger pool of spoons than you.
Mm-hmm.
But I also burn mine out nearly daily.
Yeah.
Lately, I've been like, I'm gonna not today.
How I kind of feel is like I'm always teetering on the edge of empty. Like, I always feel like if I do one too many things, then I'm going to be out for the day, and I'm not going to talk to anyone, and then I'm like useless for the rest of the day, which isn't a nice feeling. So I have to be super careful about how much I do, and if I go to work, that's pretty much a guarantee that they're all gone that day.
Yeah, and that's actually a good that's actually a good point to say. This podcast may be a bit irregular because, hey, it's about mental health, and neither of us are the most healthy mentally, and some weeks, or I think we agreed on bi-weekly for this.
Yeah.
There will be some times where we just can't.
If there's going to be an audience that will understand, I think it'll be this one.
Yeah, but like there's going to be just some times where we might go a month or two without an episode, and I'm pre-apologizing for that, but also like sometimes Kit's not going to be able to, or I'm going to not have any energy left after doing, like, I work a full-time job and I try to keep up currently 8 videos a week on the channel, maybe more. Like, I have a lot of stuff that I want to do and I'm trying to do, and it's draining. And like I said, I have 9 podcasts I want to work on.
Yeah, but we're gonna try our best and keep as regular as we can.
Yeah, that's not to say we aren't going to try to keep you an every other week schedule. It's just, it's not guaranteed to be.
Yeah, like as a podcast consumer, I sometimes really rely on the regularity of podcasts because I know that this is coming out that day, but we're just saying that like we're going to struggle because of, one, how heavy this topic is, and it's going to take a lot just to talk about this kind of stuff, and just getting into the frame of mind of talking for like an hour is going to take a lot.
Yeah, and yeah, we'll have a lot of like stuff happening. Like we're gonna end up having like times where this will be the last thing on the list of things we want to record that week, and we just don't have it in us to do it, or we don't have a guest that we want that time or something. But as someone who literally, like, if I get up and go to use the restroom, I grab my phone and I turn a podcast on.
Yeah.
Like, Kit can hear it. like I always have a podcast going if I'm not at my computer, and a lot of the time I then do as well. Mm-hmm. So I absolutely understand podcasts, like the need for having a regular podcast. I just also kind of am like, I'm tired.
Yeah.
And also, until I get my place, like, recording is not going to be a 100% guaranteed thing I can do each week.
No, because I got a really bad setup.
Well, yeah, and once you're here, it'll be a lot better. But, I mean, like, just in terms of, like, having, like, it's, you know, we started recording this at, like, 5:30 in the morning. Mm-hmm. And it's 6:15 now, and we have, like, I can't always be recording super, like, early in the morning because I have 2 roommates, and once I have my oh, my voice is cracking. I won't always have the ability to. Like, there's stuff that I want to record, and it's just like, I can't because people exist. But once I have my place, and I can do whatever, whenever, and once you're here, we can do a whole lot more, because we'll have one microphone.
Yeah, and that would be so much nicer.
Yeah, and your audio quality honestly isn't that bad when it's recorded on your end and not through Discord.
Yeah,
so,
I'm using an internal laptop mic, which might explain.
Yeah. I'll clean it up the best I can, like I did with the other thing.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I don't know. It's I'm excited to do this.
Me too. I like that we won't have a shortage of things to talk about, because we've got so many topics which we've written down already, and we'll think of more as we go.
And that's not including talking to other people about their shit.
Mm-hmm. Which hopefully we'll have guests on, and we can see about different things that aren't just about us, like different types of mental health that we don't experience, which I'm really looking forward to finding out about, really.
Yeah, it should be a good time. But yeah, it's a little bit shorter than I wanted, but I think that's a good place to wrap up.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, we're going to try to keep these to about 45 minutes to an hour, and, yeah, that's about it for now. This is the first episode of Spoons and Spellslots.
Yep, well, like we said, we're going to try and do them every couple of weeks, but we'll try and stay on top of that. And
we will figure out a day to put it out on when we get there.
Yeah, and if you miss us that much in between 2 weeks, we have our YouTube channel.
Yes, youtube.com/user/recurringvs, where you can find lots of Let's Plays.
Yeah, we have a lot of different stuff going at the minute. I'm on a couple of Let's Plays, not that many at the minute, but I want to do more.
Actually, I don't think you're on any that are public.
No, we've been recording Diablo a bit recently.
Yeah, but that hasn't gone up yet. As of the recording of this, it might have by the time this comes out publicly. That leads me perfectly into, hey, if you want these on like the day they're uploaded, you could go to patreon.com/recurringvs, where we post everything at least a week early.
Get ahead of the game.
Yeah, get your head in the game. Oh yeah, Wildcats.
Nice.
Oh god damn it! I just made a High School Musical reference.
You
I'm
did.
dead. I'm done. Nope, I'm done. Goodbye.
Okay, very quickly, if you want to find us on Twitter, I am whereas_Bilbo, and you are, I was going to say recurring, but you're...
I'm at Repeated V's.
Repeated V's, and everywhere else, I'm Prince Lionheart.
And we're at Recurring V's here and on Tumblr, which I don't actually use. And we have our website, which is where this is hosted. So either you're watching this on YouTube or something that is linked back to the site, which is recurringvs.com. So there's some writing, which I actually need to post that other editorial up. And yeah, I can't think of anything else, can you?
I think that's everything. If you want to talk to us or ask questions, or you have ideas for future episodes, come talk to us on Twitter. That's probably the best place.
Yeah, definitely. That's the only place I use, as long as I'm not shadow banned.
That's another story.
that was the thing that happened. And you can find the music that we used in this episode and pretty much everything going forward is by Neshcom, Bryce Castillo, and you can find him at Brycast on Twitter and Neshcomplex. There's Neshcomplex Music. Oh shit, I should know this. Oh no. Oh, Neshcomplex. Shit, I feel really bad. SoundCloud.com/Neshcom, and NeshComplex.com. Yeah, I had it right. And you can, this track that you're hearing in the background is Awash, and he does some really good stuff, so you should check him out.
Absolutely.
Anyway, have a nice night, everybody.
See you guys.